All right, so we're back with an episode on motion and success. This is gonna be a great one. I'm here with my co-host.
Cody Brown, future underscore the CEO.
Yep. And it's Ayadeji, IYODEJI. And today we got a special guest for you guys. Today we got Marvin.
What's going on?
Francois.
Family. How are you?
Yep. This is gonna be a good one, guys. So first of all, we gotta start off like Marvin, like where you from?
You know, Brooklyn born and raised. Oh, do I introduce myself?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Where's my? This is me right here.
Yeah, that's you.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, how y'all doing? My name is Marvin Francois. I'm the owner of a business funding firm and a business media platform, and I assist business owners in acquiring business funding needed to start, grow, and scale profitable businesses. Happy to be here, and I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York.
Oh wow. That's
So
what's
yeah,
up.
yes sir.
That's what's up. So I know, but even before you jumped into the business credit, how was your journey to get where you are now? Like I know it definitely wasn't an easy one, especially being from out here in New York.
Yeah. So to take it a couple years back, what got me into the space? So coming out of high school, I was actually in the entertainment space. So I actually used to do just a lot of comedic videos and stuff like that online. Cody's laughing because he knows. Comedic videos online. And I was just really into like skits and stuff like that. Like I just had a knack for making people laugh. I knew how to act and talk on camera and things like that. And going into college, those videos started to pick up and take off. So essentially, once I got into college, the plan was to become a doctor. Because I'm from Haitian descent. You're Nigerian, right?
Yeah.
So you know, right?
Oh yeah.
You really got three careers. It's like doctor,
Yep.
lawyer, engineer, and if you're not any of those, you're a failure, right? That's literally how it goes. So I was like, all right, better be a doctor, and went to school to try and become a doctor. Took 1 year of chemistry, did terribly, and I was just like, oh, I'm not gonna become a doctor no more. Like it's just not gonna happen. But at the time, the comedic videos I was making from high school going into college started to pick up, and going in my sophomore year, I was like, all right, I got a decision to make. Do I keep trying to pursue this thing of being a doctor that I didn't even want to do? I just did it because coming from a Haitian background, I thought that's what I needed to do for my family. Or do I just go all in on this comedy thing? Decided to do the latter. Dropped out of school my sophomore year, went all in on comedy, and I essentially was a full-time entertainer for 3 years. So from 2017 to 2020, performed at colleges all across the country, comedy clubs all across the country. Yeah, bro. Yeah. I think my biggest biggest college show I ever did was at Binghamton University. Sold out crowd of like 350 people, so that was cool.
How'd you get booked to these schools though? Like,
Oh,
did you
so-
have like an agent or something like that?
And I'm happy that you asked that, bro. I was a hustler, hustler. So what I would do, I would literally go to every single college, like in the east, in different coasts, like East Coast, West Coast, and the South. I would go to their website, and what I would do is I would find the student organizations. So like the two top student organizations I would look for, because I did a lot of comedy around like me being Caribbean, because I come from an Asian background. So I would look for a Caribbean student union and a black student union.
Oh.
I would get the email address and the social media, and I would literally by myself just DM and email each and every single one for every college that I could find. Like I still have a recording to this day of like me just like 7 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday, I'm just emailing every Caribbean student union and black student union for every college that I could find under the sun. And like
How much would you do in a day though? Like,
at minimum 100. Like I'm not going to sleep unless I emailed 100, and like maybe a percentage of them would get back to me, right? But I was doing it through that, and then also just connections, because once again, at the time I was supposed to be in college, and a lot of the people that I was friends with and out of high school, they would see the videos I was still doing at the time. So either I would get it through just me cold emailing like all these black student unions and Caribbean student associations, or friends would just connect me with people that went to their schools. Because I would ask them like, yo, if y'all want me to host an event, if you want me to go do stand-up at your school, let me know. So that's how I would get a lot of those events. It was either cold emailing or just making the content. Did that for a little bit from 2017 to 2020, had a really good time, but the money wasn't money. Like it wasn't doing what it needed to do. And COVID came, and that was kind of like the first time where I was like put in a position where I had to like stop and just look at the landscape of everything. Like as fun as comedy was, I knew how long it was going to take for me to get to a point where I could make the living I needed to make to be able to take care of my family and support the individuals around me. And I was just like, all right, this is going to take a little longer than I would like to. So I have to find something else, I have to pivot. So at the time in 2020, what happened was I also come from like a family of business owners. Once again, you're Nigerian, so you know. But it's like in my family, it's like contractors, people that own taxi companies, restaurants, all these things. One of the key things that I saw amongst all these business owners in my family was that they had struggles to get access to capital because their credit was shot. So throughout 2020, I was like trying to figure out, okay, cool, I'm gonna pivot from this comedy thing. Where do I go next? I'm like, yo, why don't I just get in the credit space? Right? It works hand in hand. Like I'm trying to help the people that are near me. This is the biggest problem they have. Let me get into this credit space. So I just started learning as much as I could about personal credit and business credit. And every little bit of information, I would take it and then bring it back to clean my uncle's credit, my auntie's credit, cousins, dads, everybody from top to bottom. And then at the same time, going into September of 2020, that was when Herman Dulce, shout out to Haitian CEO, he actually did an in-person mentorship class on just credit and on how to start your own credit business. Paid $1,500, went to the class, changed the game for me completely because I learned how to take essentially all the knowledge I had about personal credit and business credit and monetize it and create my own company.
Yeah.
Started my first company in November of 2020, started creating content around just everything I knew around credit from November 2020 going to March of 2021. The content started to take off on YouTube. Made my first 6 figures 9 months after doing that, and it was history from there on. So, yeah, that's what got me to this point.
That's fire. So is that the reason? That's how you got the name Takeoff Financial?
Nah. So
That'd
take
been
off.
crazy though.
No. Take off is something totally different. So, do you want me to get into that?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So what happened was I started my first company ever was Francois Capital.
Yeah.
So I started Francois Capital in November of 2020, and then ran that company from November of 2020 to October of 2022. So what happened was, going into 2022, the company was doing well, but I didn't realize, like, this is my first business. Like, I'm a brand new entrepreneur. Even though I was having a lot of success, I was also losing a lot of money, and I didn't realize it. And what I mean by that is, like, I was really good at, like, marketing and creating content.
Yeah.
But, like, a lot of the other side of business that doesn't make it to social media, I was trash at. So, like, operations, I was not good at it. Like, running a team, just fulfillment of, like, the services that people were paying me for at the time. So it was not doing as well as it could have been. At the time, I had an individual I got connected with who's my business partner now, and
Who is that person?
my guy Webb. Shout out to my guy Webb. Miss
Webb?
Webb Webinacious. So what happened was he had a credit business as well.
Oh,
But what was interesting was there was a moment where I had run into a situation in Francois Capital where it was some stuff that happened amongst me and some clients. Long story short, like I ended up having like a situation with my merchant account to where it got shut down. I had told him about it, and because he was like one of the people I was close to at the time, and he kind of helped guide me through the situation. But through him guiding me through the situation, he had learned about a lot of the shortcomings I was dealing with in my credit business. And then from there, like literally 2-3 weeks later, he hit me up. He was like, yo, what's going on? I'm like, hey, what's going on? How's everything going? He's like, yo, I want to send you something, but before I send this to you, I need to have your undivided attention. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm here. Talk to me. He sent me like a 30-minute Loom recording, and he basically like pitched himself to me. And he was essentially the pitch was like all of my strengths were his weaknesses, and all of his weaknesses were my strengths.
Yeah.
So I was good at content, marketing, just branding. He was terrible at it, right? He was really good at operations, fulfillment, just handling the day-to-day of the business. I was garbage at it. He had a credit business. I had a credit business. He was just like, yo, look, we can both keep trying to do this thing on our own, or we can merge and, do something really super, super special here. We decided in 2022, this is post-Invest Fest 2022. We sat down, prayed on it, talked about it, came together, and ultimately he shut down his individual company. I shut down mine, which was Francois Capital. We came together and made a new one, Takeoff Financial.
Yeah.
And rest was history, man. Here we are.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying?
And how'd you find Webb? Did you find him at like a conference, a mastermind, a dude that you just knew down the street? How'd you find him?
Through social. So like one thing about me, I'm always looking for opportunity. I'm just always looking for people I can connect with, information I can learn, resources that I can tap into. So, just being in the space, and we all know this, like being in the space, you're going to run into people. Like if you're in real estate long enough, you're going to run and cross paths with people that are in real estate.
Yeah.
So with me being in the credit space and him also being in the credit space, I saw little things that he was doing. He saw little things I was doing. I shot him a DM, yo, I would love to connect. He was super dope enough to kind of get on a call, like random. I just cold DM'd him, like, yo, I'd love to connect. Hopped on like a FaceTime call maybe like 2-3 days after that. And me and him just chopped it. And then from there, we just kept in communication sporadically through like text messaging and me just checking on him checking on me. Little did I know from when we first got connected to when he made the proposition, he's watching me. So he's watching how I operate as an entrepreneur, how I carry myself. We would see each other from time to time at events. And he's kind of just like scouting me to see just what I'm about, right? Which is why I think he confirmed it, why he felt so confident making the proposition to me, because even though I had my shortcomings as a business owner, he still saw the potential and value in what I could do and what we could become if we came together. And ultimately, that's how Takeoff came to be. Yeah.
Damn, that was definitely a great story. Like even you starting in the pandemic
Yeah.
when everybody was home,
Mhm.
you know, that times like those times was definitely like difficult.
Yeah, very.
You know what I mean? But how did your family react, especially coming from like a Haitian household?
Yeah.
You know, if it's not school, they don't look at it as like a real job or
Right.
something like that. So how did you get them on board, or did they start to see the value in what you were doing? Like how did you get them on board?
With business?
Yeah.
Oh, they still not on board. Yeah. No, they still not on board.
Seriously?
Yo, yeah, facts. Yeah, like
you know what you should do? You
Talk
should
to me.
bring them. You should bring your family with you to a conference, and you will see everybody just stopping, taking pictures with Marvin.
that's funny.
Marvin. They're like, wait,
They be like, this guy's onto something. Like
thing he's doing.
this is a
really
little
does
something.
work.
There's something here.
Yeah.
Nah, I mean, and you know, he kind of said it. It's like when you come from certain backgrounds, and it's not just family. A lot of times it could be friends. Like they're just some people that they're just. And this is not me trying to take a knock on my parents. Like I get it, right? I'm not. When I tried to get them to understand, I didn't spend too much time on it because I realized that I wasn't trying to. I wasn't going against them. I was going against the culture of just being Haitian. And you know, like we said before, at the end of the day, coming from the culture that we come from, we just know being in a career, right? Doctor, lawyer, engineer. Not to say that there's not valor in like being a business owner, but they just don't see that. They see the prestige in those three titles that I mentioned before. So even now, they're still not. When I say that they're not rocking with it, not in the sense that like they're against me doing it, but like literally, I'll be like, "Yo, mom, I just had, you know, we just did X amount this month." She's like, "Oh, that's good. So you're going back to school, right?" I'm like, "No, I'm not. I'm not. Like this is all I'm doing." And I'm not upset at it. Like I get it. But my responsibility is not to try and sit here and fight tooth and nail to get them to see what I see. My responsibility is to make sure, you know, my dad is in his 60s, my mom is in her 50s. Eventually, they're going to get to a point where like they're not going to be able to do what they need to do. I'm not focused on trying to get you to understand what I got going on. I'm trying to focus on when that time comes to where you reach a certain age and I know everything is on my shoulders, I'm prepared. That's it. And that's exactly what I'm doing now. So they're still not on board, but it's okay. Because at the end of the day, I know I see the bigger vision for what I'm doing. And 5, 6, 10 years from now, when they're not able to do a lot of what they're needing to do, and as a first son, I got to step up, I'll be ready for it. And that's what matters most. Yes, sir.
That's good.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Damn, that definitely, that's really true, man. I could relate to I could relate exactly to it. You know what I'm saying? But how did your being a comedian, like how did your comedian past help you with like your content? And I know you have your own podcast. Like, how did it help you?
Man, it helped me tremendously because for one, coming into the business credit and just credit space, one of the biggest things I realized was that the biggest thing that most entrepreneurs struggle with is marketing. Right? Getting themselves out there, connecting with their target audience. So it gave me the leg up because I came from a background of public speaking and making content that I knew people would be entertained by. So I was able to find a silver lining where I could say, all right, cool, I'm going to educate you, but I'm going to entertain you at the same time. I'm going to take the information that I know you're looking for that's going to solve the problems that you have as a business owner that's looking to get funding or as a consumer that's looking to get their credit repaired. But I'm not just going to package it as here are the top 5 ways you can improve your credit. So like, no, I'm going to find a way to entertain you in the midst of it. And what that does is it helps to separate me from a competition to where it's like if there are 5 people that you're thinking about going to get your credit restored or to help put you in position to get funding, you're going to look at all of them and say, all right, y'all cool, but it's something about this guy that I connect with. Like, I just feel comfortable with him. I feel confident in what he could do for me just because, like, I'm learning from him, but I just enjoy him. Like, he's funny. And literally, when I go to these conferences, the Invest Fest of the world and all these other ones and beyond, that's the first thing people say when they see me. It's like, bro, you are so funny. By the way, I learned X, Y, and Z from you as well, right? And I think that's what's helped me to grow as fast as I have. And, you know, really just be able to market my business and my products and everything else that I do the way that I've been able to do it. So, yeah, I would say that's been the biggest thing.
And crazy thing you said that, too. Like, earlier I was having a conversation with somebody, and we was talking, and I'm like, you know what? Another reason why we started this podcast is because, like, everybody talks about the credit, you know,
Facts.
5 hacks, 5 thing.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it was cool to make that content for a minute, you know, but it's like, all right, cool. it's boring now.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you come to my page, you're gonna see like straight facts and straight gems. Like, let's switch it up a little bit.
Mhm.
Let's start posting more about the podcast content. People like to hear other things,
Right.
Because now, me personally, I just wanted to hear about everybody's story. You know, I wanted to
Right.
hear, where'd you fuck up? Where'd you actually, went well? What did you do good? What was
Right.
some risks that you took in your business?
Right.
How'd you actually level up overall?
Mhm.
Those are the kind of conversations I'm actually interested in. So I'm like, all right, cool, let's record these kind of conversations
Right.
and still post it.
Yeah.
So now, like, I'm posting that content plus, fitness content.
Yeah,
People
yeah.
be looking at me like, yo, Cody, you lost a lot.
Right.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
they
yeah,
like
yeah.
that plus the credit stuff. So it's
Yeah.
like it all meshes together versus being that regular credit guy.
Yeah.
Like, oh, yo, he fixed credit. Nah, he fixed credit and he got a podcast and he got YouTube too.
Mhm.
You should check him out.
And that was something I actually struggled with. So what's funny is, like, what helped me separate myself was being funny early on. But there was a point where I actually thought I should stop doing it because, like, I feel like I was being too vulnerable.
Yeah.
And like, I had people that like would look at me and be like, "Yo, why aren't you as comedic, or why aren't you making some of the jokes that you would make earlier on in your content?" And I did start to get a little bit more serious and stoic, like you're talking about. But nah, people need to see that. Like,
Yeah.
they want to be able to feel like, they're connecting with an actual human being. They want to see like, oh, he travels like I travel, right? Oh, he parties like I party, or this dude be in the gym, and like, they want to get a glimpse of it. I'm not saying you got to put your whole personal life on
Exactly,
social
yeah.
media, but that also plays a big role in you trying to sell yourself and connect with your target audience as well. So very, very important. Very, very important.
Nah, content is super important. Content is super, and I'm glad you mentioned you was talking about the content and how your comedian past helped you with it.
Mhm.
Because it's like, you're right. Like,
Mhm.
a lot of people, they do have a lot of value to give, whether it's credit repair or business credit, but the way they package it and they put it out
Yeah.
there is not getting them any sales. you
Right,
know?
right,
So
right.
It's
Right.
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
And how'd you start your podcast? What was the idea behind that? Like, why'd you start the podcast, and what has it done for you so far? Because I know, like, you done had some great guests.
I've done okay.
You done had
I've done
Band
all
Man
right.
Kevo.
I've done okay.
You done had Hip 500.
Yeah.
Literally, after walking off the stage, collecting, what, $25 million plaque?
25 and a 10, so 35 altogether, but I'm not counting. But
I'm
yeah.
sorry,
Yeah,
35 million.
yeah.
You done had Herman Dulcie.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
done had Darain. You done had a whole lot of people.
I've done okay. I've done okay for myself. How did the podcast come to be? So, before we continue, you're Igbo or Yoruba? I gotta ask. Are you Igbo or Yoruba?
Nah, Yoruba.
You're Yoruba?
Yeah.
Got you. My Nigerian.
Wait,
brother.
hold on. Y'all leaving me out. Like, my family from the Caribbean.
Where your family from again?
My family's from Grenada and Jamaica.
You're from Grenada. we talking about black royalty over here. Shout out to all the Grenadians watching, but we talking about black royalty over here. Nah, but to answer your question, how did the podcast come to be? So, well, for starters, I knew that I wanted to create a media platform that would allow for me to continue to provide added value to business owners that I was looking to speak to, but I didn't expect to do it as soon as I did, right? I knew it was going to happen, but I didn't think it was going to happen when it did and how it did. So what's funny is, once again, just networking, just relationships. So, I'm in Recession Proof. I think you're in Recession Proof as well.
Yeah.
Being in Recession Proof, they would have these mixers they would do like once a month in New York. So when they would do these mixers, I went to the first one ever, and I got connected with a gentleman by the name of, you just named him, Darain De Levante.
Yeah.
So at the time when we got connected with Darain, nobody at the table really knew who I was, and I forget what happened, but we were having a conversation, and my YouTube channel came up, and I was like, yeah, my channel has X amount of subscribers. And like, everybody stopped, and it was like, what do you do? I was like, well, I do the same thing y'all do. I would do credit, X, Y, and Z. But Darain, little did I know, he like hung on to that. So we all exchanged information at the end of the mixer. Fast forward like a week and a half later, Darain hits me up, and he's like, and I don't know if have you guys? I mean, you've been around Darain, so you know.
Yeah.
So Darain hits me up. He's like, bruv, listen, bruv, I need to talk to you, bruv. Look, I see what you're doing. I see the vision. I need you to record me. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, we need to do an interview, bruv. I want you to interview me. I'm like, bro, I don't do that.
Yeah.
And he's just like, bruv, you don't understand. I really think that we could do something powerful here.
Bro.
Yeah, like, he just kept pushing for it. And at the
Yeah.
time, like I said, I knew I wanted to create a pod, but I was like, I'm not really in the space for that right now. Like, I'm really just focused on my own individual content and trying to connect with my audience. And like, for 4 months, bro, like, Darain chased me down. Like, I'm talking about sending voice notes, calling my phone, shooting me text messages, video messages. He would send other people to send me messages about me interviewing him. And at the time, the platform wasn't even there. So I knew I wanted to do it, but I couldn't see whatever it is that he was able to see. And it just got to a point where like month 4 came, and I was just like, bruh, all right, let's do it. We'll do the interview. And he set everything up. He got us like a space out in downtown Brooklyn. At the time I didn't really know how to interview people. So he was like, yo, ask me about this, and this. And we pull up, we do the interview. The setup is nothing like what was here, like bare bones setup. He had like one iPhone. We didn't have no mics. It was this big old space, so it was mad echoey. He had like some banners up in the background, but we shot it for like 50 minutes to an hour, and I didn't think anything of it. Got the content, and then posted it on my YouTube channel like like a week and some change later. Fast forward, the video blew up.
Wow.
Blew up. I think right now it's sitting at like 140,000, but at the time it like popped to like 100,000 views within like a couple of weeks. Jeez. And as a result, the video blowing up like skyrocketed. I think he made his first 6 figures in his credit business as a result of the video. He took the money that he got from, because we had like an affiliate set up between us or whatever the case may be. So he made a bag. I made a nice little bag myself too. Yeah. But he took the money that he got from the program, and he was like, yo, I'm about to go invest in Nehemiah Davis's mentorship program. And I was like, all right, cool, great. He was like, bro, I need you to, you should join this program. I was like, yeah, I'm not really in the space for that right now. Like, I'm a very apprehensive dude. I don't just rush and do certain things. I'm very slow and methodical and strategical with how I do things. Little did I know, while the episode was blowing up, he was going to go in he ended up joining Nehemiah Davis's mentorship program, and he's telling everybody in the program about me. He's like, you guys got to do an interview with Marvin Francois. Like, this guy changed the game for me. He's the guy to go to. Like, you got to get connected. He would put me in like group messages with people inside of Neo's mentorship program. So one of the people that he put me in a group message with an interview was who? Dion Coopwood.
Ooh,
so Dion, you know what I'm saying? So yeah. At the time, he's like, yo, Marvin, this is my guy Dion. You have to interview Dion. And Dion at the time, I think he was living in like either Atlanta or Chicago, one or the other. I think he was still in Chicago. And we got connected, and at the time, still, I'm like, bro, this is not a podcast. Like, I'm not ready to do this yet. But I see the effect of what's happened with Dwayne. I'm like, you know what? This interview blew up. Let me go ahead and run it back with Dion. Dion flies into New York. We do an interview, and our interview doesn't blow up the way Dwayne's did, but it does really well. It did like 40,000 views. But what happened was, when me and Dion did our interview, Dion, because his thing is Metro 2, yeah. The video ended up getting noticed by the originator of Metro 2. I forget the gentleman's name off the top of my head. But the guy who actually created the software saw that Dion did the interview, loved it, and him and Dion ended up doing a partnership where now, you see what Dion's doing, and he has his own software. Yeah. So now Dwayne is over here telling everybody in Neo's mentorship about the podcast. Dion is like, yo, this dude is crazy. He's telling everybody in Neo's mentorship about the podcast, and they're like the two spokespeople for this podcast that I didn't even create at the time. And now you have business owners and entrepreneurs galore like, I got to get on your pod. I got to get on your pod. I got to get on your pod. And I'm just like, I guess we got a podcast now. And then literally from there, I just interview after interview. In some way, shape, or form, I was providing value to people. Either the long form interviews would do really, really well, or the clips that we would do would like do hundreds of thousands, if not millions of views, right? Like another person, Ramel Newell was my guy. Shouts to him. He's in the storage unit space. Yep. We did an interview. It did solid. It did like 5,000 views on YouTube, but like the clip.
There was one that did 1 million though.
On YouTube? Short. That was Ramel. Yeah. So it was Ramel. So I took a clip from the interview. It did like 1 million views. And then from there, once again, now him, Dion, Dwayne, and all these different people like, yo, get on this guy's podcast. And I think I know the reason why the podcast did so well is, once again, I'm very strategical with how I do things. And I'm like, all right, cool. If I'm going to interview you, I could ask you about your story and I could do all these different things, but how can I provide as much value as I can to people, business owners that I'm serving that are watching this episode? Yeah, they'll be able to appreciate your story, but really they want to learn who you are, what you did, how you did it, and how they could do the same. So when I interview a guy like a Dion, I'm not asking you about your story. We'll talk about it a little bit, but it's like, bro, talk to us about Metro 2. How does Metro 2 work? How can we use it to clean our credit report, right? To where it's like we're doing this interview is really like a free masterclass, right? Mm-hmm. When I'm interviewing on Ramel Newells, you're literally getting a step-by-step blueprint on how to get in the self-storage facility, information that he would charge you $15,000, $20,000 in a mentorship program for. I'm curating questions and I'm asking him in real time, and they're not gonna hold it back on their interview. I'm like, they got to give it away.
Yeah.
To where you're literally getting all the sauce on how to do whatever it is that they did. Brian Waldron, a guy who's in the event space, who I've also interviewed, same exact thing. And from there, it provides value to the audience because they feel like they're getting the blueprint on how to get started in the space, and it provides value to the people I'm interviewing as well, because now I'm able to take these clips, I cut it up sometimes without them even asking, and I put it on my page. They pop, right? They blow up, and then from there, it's a trickle effect to where it's bringing more eyeballs to the pod, it's bringing attention to what they have going on, and it's just a wash, rinse, repeat process. So, yeah, that's how I've been able to kind of build it up the way that I build it up now, and I like I said, I've done okay. I've done pretty okay for myself.
That's and like you said, I mean, like the most like having Marvin on the podcast. I'm like, yo, bro, I don't want to talk about no credit. I want to talk more about
Let's do it.
The podcast, the media side.
Let's do it.
How does it? Do you find that does the podcast help your business overall, or does it like sometimes you could feel like it's clashing because let's say for example, me and you both do credit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You have somebody else that's on the podcast that do the same thing. Like, does it clash your business? Does it help your business? Like, how does the podcast actually excel what you got going on and make you more money overall?
Yeah, the podcast is a cheat code, and I'm going to explain to you why. So, number one, it's a networking cheat code, right? Because every time I do an interview with somebody and it does well, I now get access to at least 5 to 10 other individuals that's in their network. Right. So for you saw it in the story I just explained, like through me interviewing Durain, I got connected to people that's in Neo's mentorship program. Right. Through me interviewing Dion, I got connected to other mentorship programs that he's in. So through me doing a podcast and just providing value to these individuals, I'm now getting access to their networks. I'm getting access to their audiences. Right. When they're cutting up these clips that we're doing from the podcast and they're putting it on their social media and they're putting it on their YouTube. So that's one way that's been a super duper good cheat code for me. The second way is, you talk about me being in the credit space. Well, credit is a tool, right? So credit is not the end-all, be-all. It's a means to us getting somewhere. You use credit because you want to get access to funding. Great. You got $50,000, $100,000 in funding. Now what do you do with it? Well, Marvin Francois has a podcast that he does where he's bringing all these business owners on that's going to give you a step-by-step blueprint on where you can put the funding, how to get into real estate, how to get into stock options, how to get into high-ticket sales, and all these other different things, right? So in that regard, it's also providing added value to my community as well. Marvin, on one hand, is giving you free value information on business funding. Then he's bringing on these high-level guests to come on and give you these free masterclasses about, whatever it is that they're doing. And then as a third thing as well, it also establishes me as an authoritative figure in my space as well, right? Because it's like, bro, who is this dude that's interviewing these 7 to 8 figure entrepreneurs and actually like putting together a solid interview, asking really interesting and engaging questions that's making me go, damn, I wish I thought about that, or damn, I wish I didn't even know that before he asked it, right? So it's been a tremendous help for the business because now it's allowed me to get connected with all these individuals. It's allowed for me to provide more value to my community, and it's allowed me to be able to leverage other people's audiences and get more eyeballs on my brand and on my company as well. So it's been a win-win-win across the board, bro. Yeah.
Would you suggest somebody to have a podcast? Like, is this for anybody, you think?
Let me sit up. It's so I just talked about the good. Let's talk about the reality of running a podcast, at least the way that I do it. So would I suggest it? I mean, I think everyone should give it a try to know if it's for you or not. Worst case scenario, you do it. You're like, bro, this is a lot. I'm not really trying to do it. And then you go about your business. Best case scenario, you get into it and you're like, yo, this is actually a great tool for my business, or this is just something I enjoy doing. The reality of running a podcast, though, is that, for one, it does take a lot of work, like especially for me, the way that I do my interviews. I can't just bring somebody on and sit down and, shoot the shit with them and be like, hey, how's your day going, buddy? Like, nah, I got to sit down and do research on this person. Mm-hmm. So the time that I'm researching on this individual is time that's being taken away from maybe other things that I need to do in my business. But, in the bigger picture of things, it works itself out, but it's still time nonetheless. Then from there, you also run the risk of potentially bringing people on that, if you're not careful and you don't do your due diligence, you may mess around and bring somebody on, and 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks later, you find out, oh, this dude, you're a scammer. I didn't know that. I shouldn't have probably shouldn't have brought you on.
Yeah.
That, now, luckily, that hasn't happened to me.
Yeah.
Right, but that's another reality of the situation as well, right? You want to be careful about who you're connecting yourself to, because in the same way, I can have a platform where I'm bringing on all these high level entrepreneurs and it's making me look really good. All it takes is me bringing on one bad apple for people to now look at my brand and be like, damn, you let so and so on your podcast. We just found out he's doing X, Y, and Z. So that's another side of it too. But I would say everyone should give it a try. Like, once again, worst case scenario, you try it and you're like, yeah, I really don't want to do this anymore. But best case scenario, similar to what it's done for my business, it could act as a resource and a tool to really help you grow your company. So, yeah. Yeah.
What is the research? I mean, what does the research look like? Like, how do you vet somebody to make sure, like, yo? Because then again, people are paying to get on a podcast.
Yeah.
Sometimes it might just be out of love
Right.
or whatever.
Right.
But,
allegedly, we don't know if they pay to get on the Marvin Francois. Don't put that information out there. I don't even know.
Out of love.
Yeah.
You
Well,
never know. You don't know.
maybe they pay. Maybe they don't. I
Some
don't
people
know.
pay, sometimes it's out of love.
Yeah, maybe they pay. Maybe they don't. I don't know. Allegedly.
Sometimes, it's either sometimes they paying, sometimes it's out of love,
Right.
sometimes with relationships.
Right.
But how do you do your research and what do you look for? Like, are you checking out the Instagram page? Are you looking for when they started? Are you looking for testimonials?
Mm-hmm.
What does that process look like for you?
So for me, at this point, it's become a little bit easier because a lot of the guests that I bring on come by way of referral.
Yeah.
So for example, if a Dion brings me somebody, I still do my research because you never know.
Yeah.
But the likelihood of that being somebody that's not really, about what they say they're about is low, because if this guy is recommending you and I know he's legit, I know you have to be legit. Otherwise, he wouldn't be bringing you to me. So I think that helps a lot. But my due diligence, man, is, I do some background checks, right? I want to make sure that, on the personal side of things, you don't have anything that going on that compromises or goes against, the brand of what I'm trying to build and the message that I'm trying to get out there. Socials is also a great way to check too. Like, one big thing for me, if I go and I look at your social media and it looks like you're buying followers and stuff like that, that for me is sketchy, because if you're legit and you provide actual value, you don't got to do that, right? You don't have to pay for hundreds of thousands of people to follow you, because if you're about what you're about, you're gonna get those people regardless. So that's another one too. And then another thing I do, I never interview anybody without speaking to them on the phone for at least an hour. I'll just get on the phone with you. So even if a Dion or a Durain or any of these other people bring me a person, I'll text them on the side and be like, yo, let's hop on a call and just chop. Just off the energy alone, I'll also be able to feel out and see all right, is this somebody that I'm even interested in kind of gauging. Nobody has ever been on my platform without me speaking to them for at least an hour, whether it's in person or over the phone.
So how about somebody you want to get on your podcast?
How do I reach out to
for
them?
example, I wanted you to come on our show.
Right.
How does that work? Say for example, you got a Him 500 or some high level entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. You chop it up for an hour before?
Well, no. If it's somebody if I want to get an Alex Hormozy, if he's doing me a favor, right? Right? So ain't no chopping up at that point. He's doing me a favor.
Yeah.
But you're essentially asking, if I wanted to get some big name, how do I get them on? What's my process?
Yeah, that, and also say for example, if it's somebody you actually wanted, because not we're in a stage where we're sourcing the people not coming to us.
Right. So okay, so for me, first off, I'm very. So let's talk about the Him 500 one, right? How I was able to get him on is what I do now. Going back to what I said before, with every podcast guest that I get 5 to 10 people in their network. So what I did was, I always knew before I would interview him that I wanted to interview him, and I could have went to, I'm in recession proof. I could have went to him sooner to get him, but I was like, no, we're gonna do it a little bit better, to where when I asked him, he has no choice but to say yes and come on. How did I do that? I said, all right, cool. I know of Marcus and Marcus knows of me, but I have a stronger relationship with Herman, right? Mm-hmm. Because I invested in Herman's mentorship. I had paid him for one-on-one consultations. I've been to all of his events. We text on the side here and there. I said, all right, before I reach out to Marcus, let me reach out to Herman and do my interview with Herman. Why? Number one, I know that interview is going to do well because we're both in the same space. He's a stronger authority figure than I am, and he would bring fire to my platform, which it did. The episode, thank God, ended up doing 100,000 views. But even better than that, now what's going to happen is when that interview does really well, because I know him 500 and Herman are super duper close. When Herman's episode does well, him 500 is going to have to see it, right? So me knowing that I wanted to get Marcus on, I made sure to do the interview with Herman first. And then from there, once that interview popped off and was doing well, then I reached out to Marcus. When I reached out to Marcus, it was in person. It was at InvestFest that we just came out of. Saw him, he's taking pictures with everybody. I walked up on him and I was like, yo, man, I would love to have you on a pod. My name is Marvin Francois. I would love to have you on a pod. He's like, bro, why you telling me your name like I don't know who you are? And he like, we both, we both started laughing. The first thing he said was, I saw what you did for Herman's interview. Bro, it's locked in. It's a done deal, right? Once again, rewind. Could I have asked him before I did the interview with Herman? Yeah, I could have. Would I probably still have gone? Maybe, perhaps. But would it have been as like 1-2 as that? Like, nah, probably not, right? Yeah. So that's kind of the big strategy that I use now. But if I'm not doing it, strategically like that, fortunately enough for me, the platform does have like I'm at 76,000 subscribers now. So it's really just either a matter of a lot of times I just cold DM somebody. Like, and that's a big thing. And if you notice throughout my story, a lot of it is like I don't overthink a lot of these things. I just shoot. Yeah. Because the worst thing that you could tell me is a no. And like one of my favorite sayings that I love to say now is like I'd rather a no than an I don't know. So it's like a lot of times people think like, how do I get these big guests on? All right, just ask. Just ask. And either they're going to tell you no, or they're going to say yes. But either way, at least now you know, and now you could be a little bit more strategical about maybe circling back at a later point in time. So if I'm not interviewing somebody who's close to a person to try and like wiggle my way into getting in there with them, I just DM them straight up and I'm just like, yo, I would love to have you on. I think this would be a great opportunity to just provide more value to your community and get more eyeballs on whatever it is you're doing. And a lot of times it works. Sometimes it doesn't. And that's pretty much what's worked for me, man.
You just follow up.
Just follow up, man. Yeah. Follow up monster. Bro, if you don't answer my first DM, I got like 50 more coming. You understand? Literally. So, yeah.
I do want to get into the YouTube growth because, me and Cody, we got a podcast, Motion and Success, right now.
Let me kick my foot up.
And, we are growing, but you're like on another level.
I'm doing okay.
You're on another level. But how because having your YouTube views and, having that proof of work before, people start. Because before you even invite a guest on, they're going to go through your Instagram, go through your YouTube. Is this a platform I want to be on? Like, how did you get those views up? Like, how long have you been doing the YouTube?
And your subs too.
Yeah, what's your trick behind getting
what's my trick? What's
the sauce? Yeah, what's the sauce?
What's the sauce? I mean, YouTube and Instagram are two completely different ballgames. Two completely different ballgames. YouTube takes time. Yep. Like I wish there was a hack. I wish there was a tip. I wish there was a trick or some type of flip that I could give y'all to switch to get y'all hundreds of thousands of views, but it just doesn't work that way. I think for me, why I've been able to have the success that I've had with YouTube is that I obsess over getting answers to questions that I know my target audience has. That's it. So when I started creating my platform on YouTube, it was through the entertainment space. So that gave me a little bit of a leg up, right? So when I was using my YouTube for making like comedic videos, I got it to like 2,000 subscribers, and then I pivoted to the education space. Once I got into the personal credit and business credit space, it was really just me taking time to provide as much value as I possibly. Like, you cannot come to my channel and watch one video and leave. It's not happening, because I'm going to make sure that every piece of content that I put out is going to solve every problem that you have as a business owner, every problem that you have as a consumer, to where it almost feels criminal that I'm giving this away for free. And I think that's what's allowed me to grow the way that I've grown. So for me, it's like, all right, cool. If I am looking to create a YouTube channel around real estate to service, people that are looking to become real estate investors, I'm sitting down and literally spending hours upon hours every single day creating and curating content that's going to teach you how to get financing for your real estate deals, how to find real estate deals, how to get, expand and get connected in different networks and all these different things and beyond. And through me doing that on a consistent enough basis, eventually the channel is going to grow slowly but surely. So I'd say that's the first thing in terms of just me, once again, obsessing over answering these questions and solving problems for my target audience, which is business owners. Number two, it's really the packaging, right? So I'll give you a great example. Charles Noonan, we're in his space right now, right?
Shout out to Charles.
Shout out to my guy, Charles, in the building. So Charles, his specialty is land banks. And me and him were having this conversation at a conference. And he asked me the same question. He's like, yo, what do I got to do to make my YouTube channel get better? I was like, yo, pull up your channel. I'll audit it right now. And like, he had a video that was titled like, something sporadic. It was like Land Bank 101, ... I'm like, bro, don't nobody know what a land bank is. Like, nobody has any idea what a land bank is. He was like, I explained to him and I explained to y'all, if you want to give your YouTube videos the absolute best chance to perform very, very well, you have to ask yourself, whenever you're packaging the video, creating the title and the thumbnail of that video, why would an absolute stranger click on this? If they didn't know me from anywhere and they just saw this video pop up on their YouTube channel, why would they click on it, right? So to dive deeper into that, let me take a step back. In YouTube, and I'm going to get you out of the game. In YouTube, with the YouTube algorithm, there are 3 ways that you can push out your videos. There's browse, suggested, and search. So search is when you create content that is specifically geared towards questions that people Google. Suggested is when you watch a YouTube video and they have all those videos on the side. Those are essentially like, they're giving you related videos based off whatever it is that you're watching. And browse, when you first go on YouTube on the homepage, that's when they're just suggesting all these different kind of videos. Some of them are related to interests that you may have, and others may be like outliers that don't necessarily connect to what you watch, but YouTube is like, maybe you'll like this.
Yeah.
So if you want to give your videos a really good chance at performing well, you want to optimize your videos for browse, meaning that when I go on YouTube for the first time and your video appears on my homepage and it's sitting next to a Mr. Beast video and a Marvin Francois video and all these other different people, why out of these 7 videos that are on my homepage am I going to click on yours? Let's bring it back to the Charles thing. He talks about a very specific thing within real estate called land banks, right? Instead of me titling a video, how my land bank made me $100,000, I would name it a different title, like the #1 real estate strategy that no one is talking about. Okay. That's a little, okay, hold on now. And then from there, once you click, then I could talk all the fancy jargon about land banks and all these other different things. But if I put it on the front end, it's going to be hard for a total stranger to click on it because I don't know what is a land bank. What is that? Same thing for me being in the credit space. I'm not going to title a video the top 5 key bank is the best bank for you to get funding from, and here's why. No, I'll probably name it title it like here's the #1 bank that lenders don't want you to know that'll give you access to like $50,000 in funding. I'm piquing your curiosity, right? I'm packaging it in a way to where you go, like literally, you will see and go, okay, hold on, what's going on here? Let me click on this and see what's going on. So that's another great strategy as well. You have to understand how to package your content in a way to where total strangers will want to click on it. And then the third thing is really just consistency, bro. Like you have to find a way to commit yourself to a certain schedule of posting a certain periodically, whether it's once a week, twice a week, once every other week, whatever that is that works for you. But as long as you're consistently putting content out, because if you're not constantly putting those pieces out, you're not going to be able to collect enough data to see what's working versus what's not working. So I have people that come to me like, bro, how do I succeed on YouTube? And they post like once a year. I'm like, bro, you're done. You're finished, right? And understanding that, like, bro, your first 100 videos are probably not going to be all that good, but that's okay. Because through you going through that process of 100, you're going to be collecting data on what videos actually do work. And you yourself are just going to get better at crafting and creating content. So I would say those are the 3 biggest things that have allowed me to get to this point and have the success that I've had in just building my YouTube channel up.
All right, so I really wanted to ask you this question.
Let's do it.
So now, podcasting, we interview other guests, right?
Yeah.
How do you because I know, like, after watching some of your videos and some of your episodes, how do you mix in your product, right? Or your service? Like, say, for example,
for the podcast interviews I'm doing?
How do you throw that in to be able to still make money, even though we're talking about, podcasts, media, YouTube, or whatever? Because me personally, I got the credit content, and the first few episodes of We Talking, there has not been a time where I actually mentioned that I have a credit repair software. How do you make sure that you throw that in so that way, all right, cool, we get at least 100 people to view it? Because most times you're going to get quality people, even if it's 100 views. Yeah. People are usually searching for it, right? Yep. They're going to Google. They're going to Google for the search. They're looking for an answer. They're going to YouTube. They're looking for the search. They're looking for an answer. So now, how do I actually throw it in there? And even though it's, 50 views, 100 views, 1,000 views, those are actually quality views.
Facts.
Like, how do I actually make money, with my business, even though we're talking about media, podcasting, YouTube, and stuff like that? Yeah,
for sure. So it's a couple things. So number one, ad insertions is a really great place to start. So essentially, for example, for this podcast episode or every podcast episode you've done before, do you guys have commercials inside the episodes?
None.
God bless your soul. Listen, you got to have at least 3 commercials in Okay, let's break down the strategies.
Is that pre-recorded or
Yeah,
live, like a live read? How does that work?
Great question. Ooh, Cody,
Yeah,
I
told you we ain't coming to talk about
we ain't coming
credit,
talking
bro.
about no credit. They're trying to get this content game, ladies and gentlemen.
Content up there,
No.
man.
So, all right, so let's break it down. So you could do either or. If you're talking specifically for the podcast, you could do either or. There are certain podcasters, they do it live. Other podcasters, they do it pre-recorded and then just have it edited in. Me, I like to maintain the continuity of the conversation, so I do it pre-recorded and then I have my editor put it in. Because think, bro, imagine I'm interviewing you and I ask you a question. I'm like, oh man, that was great. By the way, this was sponsored by Clorox. If you're into like, no, bro, that's gonna throw the whole thing off.
Yeah.
So I do it pre-recorded and then from there I put 3 commercials per episode. So I have one commercial that goes in. So if you watch any of my podcast episodes, I'll do a preview of something like super that I think would go super viral that they said somewhere in an interview. I put it in the first 30 seconds and then right after my first commercial comes in. And I'm promoting either my credit business or I'm promoting like a live class that I'm doing. My second commercial comes in the middle of the episode. My third commercial comes in somewhere towards the end, right?
Yeah.
So if it's an hour-long episode, the first commercial comes in the first 2 to 3 minutes. The second commercial comes in like that 25 to 30 minute range.
Yeah.
The third episode comes in that 45 to 50 minute range. So that's a great way to now have your call to action still integrated inside of the inside the podcast episode without having to ruin it. Or if you feel more comfortable doing it live while you're doing the interview, that works perfectly fine too. You just want to make sure you let your guests know in advance, like, yo, by the way, I got to do my ad reads. So there are going to be times in between me asking you these questions, and I'm going to do it. But it's better to do it pre-recorded just to maintain the continuity of the conversation. You could do it here, right? Like literally in between, like, hey guys, before we get back to this episode, just want to let y'all know I actually have a Metro 2 based AI software that X, Y, and Z. If you're interested, click the link in the description and we'll go ahead.
Yeah, y'all click.
Yeah, there you go. click the link in the description. Click the link in the description and get my guys AI software, right? No, but so that's a great way too. Another great way, and I used to do this before I started recording commercials. You could just have a watermark that appears every 5 to 10 minutes at the bottom border of the website.
A watermark.
A watermark. So
Is
like
that like
that.
a
So it'll
logo
say
or
so let's say my website that I want to bring people to is abccompany.com. Every 5 to 10 minutes, I'll have my editor literally have a text that appears at the bottom that says abccompany.com. It'll fade in for like 10 seconds. It's showing the bottom of while the interview's taking place. It's not interrupting the interview.
Right.
And then it'll fade out afterwards. And then that pops up every 10 minutes.
Okay.
So that's another one. And then another thing I do as well, I always have in my podcast episode, if you notice in the upper left-hand corner, I have my company logo that's branded there, and it always stays in the upper left-hand corner. So from the start of the episode to the end of the episode, my company, I'm doing some form of branding it because it's there. Right, so that's another way I do it too. So that's how you could do the commercials. That's one way that you can monetize. Another way that you could monetize is offering packages. So for example, you guys do not have, let's say, even if you don't have a large following, right? But whoever you're interviewing still wants those clips because that's still content that they could use on their channel. You'd be a fool not to offer and be like, yo, by the way, yo, thank you so much for coming on. Yo, we would love to go ahead and offer you 5 to 10 clips for a very low amount of X amount. Oh, y'all do that?
Yeah.
Oh, y'all do it?
Yeah.
We just set up
We
our
just
whole
started
VIP package.
a
There you go.
VIP package.
Boom. So boom, there you go.
So all right. So look, quick lesson. So
Let's do it.
what we got is we got 5 to 10 clips out of that.
Dope.
We got public interviews because as you know, we do our public interviews. Yeah. Those usually go crazy.
Yep.
And what was the other things we got in our package?
Public interviews, and we also have the clips, and then we also giving them an opportunity to shoot a commercial
Mm-hmm.
in like a future
that would be
episode.
featured on a
There you go.
future episode.
So essentially, if I'm doing like a challenge or something, I could shoot a commercial and have it appear on one of you guys' episodes.
Yeah.
Got you.
In
So
the
that's
future, like say for example, me and you talking. All right, cool. Even though we did, let's say sheet of 3, we could throw it in here.
There you go.
You know, like
Yeah.
for example, like that.
And then you want to make sure you're doing packages with these people as well. So you don't want them to only do one commercial for one episode. You want to lock them in for like 5 minimum, right? Because because once again, YouTube is evergreen. So it's like, you know, if I'm able to put my commercial in you guys' episode and it's here from now to the end of time, that episode may pop off like 2-3 years from now.
Exactly.
My commercial's still in there.
Yeah.
Promoting my business or promoting me as a brand, even if I'm not doing that anymore. So that's another great way as well. Are you guys doing affiliate links?
No, can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so affiliate links is also great too because you guys mainly interview business owners, right?
Mainly.
If you have business owners on here, whatever they're selling, they have to have some type of they more than likely have some type of an affiliate program for it. So if they're promoting something on here, let's say they come in on here because they have their digital challenge, their 5-day challenge. You can ask them to set up an affiliate program with you to where you only make money if you help them make money.
Yeah.
Meaning that when people come to watch your episode and they love that, you interviewed Marvin Francois, and Marvin Francois wants to put his affiliate link under here for credit restoration, and somebody signs up by way of Cody Brown's and IO's episode, you guys are getting kickback from that. That's passive income that's just rolling in by way of the episode. So every time you have a guest on here, once again, that's the easiest way because it literally costs them nothing, right? Whether it's an affiliate link for an ebook, a service, a course, a challenge, consultation, whatever it is that they're selling, that's another way to get it plugged in there as well.
So you tell them that before they come in?
For sure. Yeah.
Is that something? Because we even thought like, yo, listen, you can't really put your affiliate link unless it's in the package to make it more like jumbo, like not jump. Is that even a word?
Well, you want to bundle,
like
just okay, got you. I mean, what I would say is, it's all subjective. It's up to you. For me, if I'm in you guys' situation and I'm starting out, you want to offer whatever you want to offer, the largest package, whatever it is that you guys have. But in the event that they're like, nah, I'm cool, you're like, all right, great. Well, if you're not interested in this, how would you be interested in having an affiliate set up? All you got to do is provide. It literally costs them nothing. They provide you a link. They give you access to a dashboard to where you're able to track people that's coming from your episode that's going to their thing, and then you're good to go from there, right? So you have your VIP package that you're offering them, but you have like 7 other things that you could offer to them as well. If they say no to the VIP package, all right, well, what about this? No? All right, cool. How about this affiliate program? No? All right, what about this commercial ad insert? No? All right, well, what about this? And you literally just keep knocking it down to where it's like, all right, cool, I gave myself. They're going to bite on one of those things. The affiliate is a given. If they don't take the affiliate, all right, then so be it. But once again, I'd rather a no than an I don't know. So that's the way that I would go about doing it.
So what would be like a good pricing? Like, all right, so our thing is, all right, so just to recap.
Let's do it.
We got 5 to 10 clips.
10 clips.
Mm-hmm.
We got the public interview.
Mm-hmm.
You get your content back in less than 24 hours.
Okay.
Speed is everything. People like that. What was the other thing we said?
The commercial. Give them
A commercial in a future episode.
Future episode.
What would, like, how would you break that down to actually make it like
The pricing
different
of the
like you mentioned,
right.
from what I'm understanding, different tiers.
Right.
Right.
The pricing is tricky because you don't, a lot of time it's not about getting what you feel like you're worth, it's about getting what you can negotiate.
Yeah.
So a lot of times you can have a small channel, right? But if you, depending on who it is that you're interviewing and what kind of value exchange that both of y'all think is there, you may be able to get a pretty penny out of that person. So it's kind of hard for me to say you guys should charge this much because it's really on a client-to-client basis. Like for me, I don't necessarily have packages for my podcast. It's on a client-by-client basis. I have like a base amount that I would normally charge people to come on, but depending on the guest, I'm like, all right, cool. This is what they have going on. This is what they're looking to come on my podcast to promote. All right, I think I can modify this. I'm going to modify the pricing to where it's set up this way, and I'm going to offer them this type of, whether it's an affiliate setup or the commercial ad inserts. Like if I have somebody who's coming on and I know they want to do an interview because they have a challenge, cool. I know they want commercials in my episode. I know they're probably going to want future commercials for the episode. I know they're going to have an affiliate set up, right? So those are 2 ways that I'm able to make money from them in that regard. If I have somebody that's coming on because they just want, to have, they have just a mentorship program, something more long-term, something more evergreen. Now I got to be able to find different ways. I'm probably going to charge them a little bit more for the interview by itself, right? I'm going to have the affiliate set up for the mentorship program. I'm probably going to encourage them to include other things as well. Like, yo, you got some ebook. Yo, let's throw the ebooks in there too. Oh, you got a course. Bro, let's throw the course in there too.
Yeah.
So that's another way to do it as well. What I would say to you though is, how many episodes have you guys done so far?
Probably like 8.
I would say it's what I would say to you more than anything. Obviously, you want to find ways to monetize your platform, but I would say try and get to 50 before you really start focusing too much on monetization.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say 50 is because if you had 8 but you had a super large following, it's like, all right, cool. They're new, but they have leverage. Like they have eyeballs. Because at the end of the day, anyone who's coming on here, that's the number one thing that they want, right? They want eyeballs, whether it's by the actual episode or from the clips that they get the actual episodes from. So if I were y'all at episode 8, I wouldn't even be focused on monetization all that much. I would just be focused on trying to provide as much value as possible and getting people enticed to even want to come on my platform.
Yeah.
So those clips that I'm doing, I'm not even going to charge people for. I'm going to do it without them even asking and just give it to them because I know if one of them pops and Not only do that, but I'm gonna edit it in a way to where my face is gonna appear at some point in time in the video. So if it pops, you see me and you know, like, oh, he was on the Cody, he was on the Cody Brown show, and he was on the Marvin Francois show, whatever the case may be. And then from there, if I do that from episode 8 to episode 50, now I've, number one, built enough episodes to where if you're doing your due diligence on me to see if it's even I'm even worth taking up a package or paying you any type of money to come on your platform, I got 50 pieces of content to back me up.
Right.
And number two, at that point, if I followed the process of getting those 5 to 10 clips for every guest that I have, bro, one of them gonna pop. And if one of them pop, that means that now I have access to your 5 to 10, access to your network of 5 to 10 individuals that also want to come on, and then I could watch and repeat. But I think you can try monetizing at episode 8.
I mean,
it's gonna be tough, dog.
Our thing is we're not.
Tough.
It's free. Like
okay, got
for
you.
now, like it's completely free. Like
no, but I'm not just talking
charging.
about. I'm not talking about just. But now, even with the monetization aspect, like the easiest one is affiliate, but like some of the other ones are gonna be tricky. Like the clips one is, I think you could test out, right? Because once again, even the clips is less based on your platform and more just based off how the edit is and what it's gonna do on their page, because they're gonna post it on their page, right? But even just in general from a monetization standpoint, outside of those two, like the clips and the commercials, I would just focus on just trying to provide as much value as I can to my guests for the next 50 episodes at no charge. And through me just doing the clips alone, bro, I'm gonna get at least one of them to bite, to where now, all right, cool, I got something, to where now I can use that as leverage. Because if I get one clip that does 1 million views or at least 250,000 views for any of my episodes, that now becomes my leverage. So now I can take that clip and say, hey, I got a small following, but when we repurpose our content, hey, look, this is we got 250 eyeballs for so and so. How would having 250 eyeballs on your brand help your business or help your bottom line? Without that, it's kind of tricky.
Yeah. Right.
It's kind of tricky. So that's why I'm big on emphasizing on just doing those clips for the individuals between episodes 8 and beyond, because if you get more than one, or if you get like 2 or 3 or 4, now it's 4 different people that you were able to get clips that did over 100,000 views on. You could use that as leverage to say, great, if you want to come on here, it's X amount, or if you want us to do these clips for you, it's going to cost Y amount and beyond. So that's what I would do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that gets back to what I was saying with the whole proof of work, like having that. Having those numbers and
right.
Those analytics. To really pull up.
Yeah. Because you're gonna have some people, bro. I've had people now to ask me for my back end on my pod, like, bro, let me see the end. Like they don't even want to just see the views. Like, let me see the click through rate for that video over there and how long people watch. Like, there are certain guests that that are going to be interesting come on that want everything, right? So you got to be ready to show them that. So yeah, I would just try and get as much proof of concept as possible first, and then it just the monetization just happens from there. Like, it becomes super duper easy. Right. So yeah, are y'all on audio?
Yeah.
Oh, you're on audio? Yeah. Oh, I'm about it, boy.
We on audio, right? We on
audio. Wait. Yo, why you asking?
We on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Yeah.